When I published last week's video, I think I may have triggered a few people. However, people's responses weren't so much about mentalism as they were about art, and specifically magic as art. It's hard to believe this small booklet stirred up so much conversation and controversy. And while it's not about art, I think it is a piece of art and has implications on your art. In this episode, we're going to not only examine this book, but discuss what it means to be an artist and how you can become one in the world of magic. I know this is a big topic. So what is this book? It's the latest in a series of small essay-style books put out by Vanishing Ink called Astonishing Essays. PSA, if you don't already know, I work for Vanishing Ink, and you can see more details about that in this video. I mentioned that the Astonishing Essays are a series, and this one is the 10th in the series, which is the final book they're going to put out. While they've been offered individually over the last few years as they were released, you can now buy the entire set in a very nice slipcase that helps them stand up on your shelf. I will have more to say about the other books in the series at a later time. This book was authored by Joshua Jay and shares the results of an academic study about the subject of magic. The study was designed by Joshua Jay and the researchers at the College of New Jersey. Because it was conducted in conjunction with academia, it is probably one of the most thorough studies on the subject of magic. And we'll talk about why this matters in just a minute. The book is approximately 100 pages and is mostly text-based, although there are a number of graphs and charts that help you depict the results of each of the questions from the study. I should point out this is not a white paper, so you're not going to be bored. Josh is distilling the nuggets that he thinks will matter and make a difference to magicians. The conclusions range from the type of card that most people are likely to think of given certain constraints to what kind of magic audiences prefer to see. But it also covers interesting things like what kind of emotions do your audiences most want to experience from a magic trick? And what kind of magic is the most memorable? Spoiler alert and bad news to card magicians, that meme you've seen online is probably more accurate than we know. The first 60 or so pages of the book deal with the results of the study by the College of New Jersey. The final 40 pages of the book deal with some more recent research that's done, albeit less formal and academic than the first 60 pages. So you get a really nice mix, and this second section deals with things like what kind of card force is the most fooling to an audience. Now, I don't want to ruin all the conclusions and share everything that's in the book, but suffice it to say that Josh was surprised and at times even disappointed with the results that he found. But he proposes that we learn from it and become better artists. There's that word, artist. And that brings me into the second part of our discussion. There are a lot of questions around this. Can magic even be art? What makes someone an artist? And how can a magician, specifically you, achieve that status? As we get into this discussion about art and magic, suffice it to say that every artist needs to learn from somewhere. And on this channel, I believe one of the best methods is to learn from books. This episode is being sponsored by Don's Magic and Books, who wants you to be able to fill out your library with books that will help you to become a better artist in whatever field of magic you pursue. Obviously, he carries all different kinds of books, everything from mentalism to card tricks, and all the other branches in between. And while he does have all of the newest magic books, he also has the older magic books, the ones that are hard to find, sometimes even out of print. Don's always pursuing, acquiring, and redistributing new collections, so be sure to check out his website often at donsmagicandbooks.com. If you want to save, be sure to use the code BOOKS at checkout. Using this code will save you 10% off of almost everything on the website, which will help you get a little bit closer to acquiring the books that you want. If you see something you like on Don's website, don't delay because some of these deals won't last very long. And if you don't see what you're looking for, be sure to email Don. He will put you on a waiting list to alert you when he gets the book in that you want. Let's talk about magic and art for a second. This book prompted me to spend a lot of time thinking about this subject this week. And why is that? Because if you apply what it says, I believe you'll become a better artist. Let me explain. From the very beginning, the introduction to the book, Josh explained that some magicians felt that if you were simply trying to please an audience, or if you were listening to what data said about what your audience wants, you were no longer an artist. But that seemed like a silly definition of art to me, that if somehow you were considering what other people like or want, that you couldn't be an artist. So that led me down the rabbit hole. What does it really mean to be an artist? I'll preface this by saying this is incomplete. Philosophers, artists, scientists, everyone's been trying to answer this question for thousands of years, and there's no way we're going to arrive at a satisfactory conclusion today, but there are a few things that I think you could take away from a book like this and a discussion like this. The first thing that I noted was that it seems like artists are creators and producers. That is, they make and share things that reflect their interpretation of truth. Basically, this is a fancy way to say that they produce or turn into something physical an idea that they want to convey to others. So in a sense, this book is a piece of art. And the idea put forth in this book is that it will teach you a more effective way to convey your ideas and your art to others in ways that will be more memorable and interesting. Now, as we talk about producing and sharing ideas in an artistic way, I think that another common theme that I see is that they typically convey some sort of emotion to their audience. I think it could be something as simple as conveying the emotion of pleasure at the beauty of something. In the case of magic, it also could be the emotion of wonder. And magic is one of the few art forms, I think, that can convey that feeling in a very powerful way. But it doesn't have to just be one emotion. It can be other emotions mixed in with wonder. Essentially anything you want your audience to feel, whether that's anger, joy, sorrow, or fear. They don't all have to be positive emotions. There are many emotions conveyed in this book. I think some of them are surprise, and not in the sense that you're trying to teach people to surprise others, but that you will be surprised by some of the findings in here, things that your audience is just too polite to tell you about your magic. The other aspect of this is that I believe to be an artist, you actually have to share your art. If you haven't conveyed an idea or an emotion to someone else, then to me, it's just an incomplete thought, even if it's taken some sort of physical form by being written down. To become art, this idea or creation, this production of yours has to be shared with other people, to inspire them, to express what you believe or how you see the world. I'm sure there are many other criteria we could come up with to qualify what is art. But the bottom line is that I believe magic can be art and magicians can be artists. In fact, if you are conveying an idea or an emotion through a performance of magic, then I believe that is art. It doesn't mean that it's good art, but it's a start. And I think that's where people had such an emotional reaction to my video and the concept of art last week. I think we often confuse art with fine art. Because while I believe that almost everyone can be an artist, only a few people will excel at it, much like any other endeavor in life. I think we have a tendency to call things art only when they touch us in a very deep or memorable way. But I also believe that forgettable transfers of information or emotion are also art. So what does that mean for you? If you're still at the stage of magic where you're performing tricks straight out of a book with the supplied script, or maybe you're copying a video that you saw, I still think that's art because I think you're putting your own touches on it, even in an unknowing way, to convey these ideas and emotions. However, you're not the best artist that you can be. Much like a learning painter copies the works of masters to learn their craft, I feel it's the same way with magic. When you get started, you're not going to create new and original art, but what you can do is reinterpret the art of previous masters to try to find your own voice and the way that you want to convey your ideas to an audience. Now, if you don't perform the magic that you purchase and consume, that's okay. I'm not here to judge you, but I don't think that you're an artist. I think you are a patron of the arts, and that in itself is a very important role. At the end of the day, I believe Josh's book will help you elevate your art to fine art. In fact, I think studying the nuances of your craft is a big step towards becoming a master artist. You're learning and applying things that are more subtle than overt, and that is the kind of material you're going to find in Joshua Jay's Astonishing Essay. But don't worry, if you just like acquiring and learning from magic books, I'm certainly not going to judge you. And in fact, if you're trying to improve your learning ability, then you may want to check out this video about how you can make progress faster in magic. As always, my friends, I appreciate you watching, and until next time, keep reading.